Welcome survivors, burnout community, and those just interested. It's Kelly Bubolz, owner, trainer, and burnout prevention mentor at KV Training Connections. Burnout is not taboo. It's our reality in this fast-paced society. But we are not going to let it drive the narrative to our stories. We're going to do something about it. So let's dig in. I'm going to be taking a few tidbits from the Leading with Intent Leadership Academy, in which we talk about staying on task. Especially as leaders, you do a lot of things in your day, but at the end of the day, if it feels like you're just spinning your wheels and not getting the outcomes you need, yes, then we need to do things a little different. Then we need to approach all these actions throughout the day a little different. So we're going to talk about how you can stay on task and do things a little bit more with intent. How do you wake up in the morning and switch from response mode to intent? There's a whole nother episode that talks about this, but what are you doing in your morning routine? If you're answering emails and automatically responding to the world around you, yes, you're going to be doing the rest of your day in response mode. But if you take control of your day, you remove all those distractions and you take the day. You control the day. So this begins with the morning routine and what you do before you even enter work. The other one is, what do you do when you walk through that work door? Are you discouraged? Are you negative? Or you have a positive mindset and you're ready. You're ready to re-energize. You're ready to take on whatever comes today. You're ready to make an impact. What are you doing during your one-on-one meetings with your team? Do you just use it to catch up on what they're working on, maybe reprioritize, and that's it? You're missing out on great opportunity to have trust and value building exercises into a conversation that's already being had. What are you doing during team meetings? This is a great time to have discussions, or when red flags pop up, address misalignment, reprioritization, re-energize the team. Have you ever been around one of those leaders that you just want to be around all the time because they make you feel good? They have this energy just oozing out of them. Why can't you do that? All you have to do is walk into that room a little different and spread that vibe, spread that energy. So what you want to do is set intent with everything you encounter. You're not doing more. You're basically working smarter, not harder, in order to get better outcomes. I want you to identify one thing you need to work on and by what time. If you approach the day saying, I have to work 8 hours today, guess what? Everything's going to be butt up to the afternoon when it's time to leave. And that's excluding all the firefights and interruptions that you're going to have come in through the day. So we talk about procrastination counter effects when you do the butt up effect and things you can do to do things more productively and directly in your control throughout the day. We go through these 9 tools in the Time Refresh online course. It's on my website, and it will blow your mind how getting rid of interruptions, by getting rid of distractions and limiting interruptions, for example, can make a whole new day in your control. Identifying what's in your control and what's out of your control is really important because sometimes we create our own problems, right? For example, if I'm a poor communicator and I don't clearly address my needs and expectations of a project, and then those needs and expectations are not met, that's on me. If I have a due date and I work with another department on this due date and I don't communicate that very clearly, I could run into problems on that due date if they're sick or aren't prepared enough for my expectations of what I need from them. Now it's just chasing time. I just cause all that stress. So do you create your own problem? What is actually in your control and you can prevent to reduce the chaos of the day? How could you better stay on task by what's in your control? I also want you to avoid autopilot and repeater type of days. So if you have a bad day or you have a day that just seems like you did a lot of mundane tasks or you had to deal with a lot of difficult people, well, if that day repeats and repeats and repeats, 1, that's sending you right into burnout. And then 2, 10 days like that can turn into 10 years really fast. So try to avoid the autopilot and repeater days by taking control of your day. So that's staying on task. That's waking up and identifying, this is what I'm going to do when I go in today. And as long as you're not overburdening yourself with a large amount of priorities, you can achieve that. It's walking through that door and saying, this is what I'm going to make an impact for today. It's walking in that meeting, saying, I'm leaving this meeting with this type of energy. You can stay on task and avoid the autopilot and repeater days by taking control. The last one that I want to highlight is productivity planners. These are amazing. They're all over Amazon. You can go to your office stores as well. And basically, productivity planners not only help you stay on task, but it helps you prioritize. It helps you lay out your day. It can help you with reflection at the end of the day to prove to your brain progress, which is great to move from burnout back to energy. It works on mindset. There's some great productivity journals out there that have even mindset questions embedded right into them. You can identify who you're going to serve today. This is pure purpose right here. What kind of transformational leadership would you be doing if you knew who you served? These planners also help you break down to smaller goals so that it doesn't seem like you're on that hamster wheel, that you're actually getting some small wins that lead up to the big goals. And some employers even sponsor it nowadays because they have found so much value in these productivity planners, not only because they're getting more production out of their employees, but because their employees are more engaged. They're driven with purpose. And the last piece that I want to talk about staying on task, and this one we dig into quite a bit on the Leading with Intent Academy program, is excuses. I really had to push my leaders when I talk to them about this topic, and we usually do it towards the end because now they have a safe relationship with me. They know who I am a little bit. But what excuses are you making to distract from your day, to give away control of the day, to procrastinate, to not do the things that you know will move the needle for that outcome? What excuses do you make to not take a rest break, to not have an effective one-on-one meeting with your team? That's a big one. There's a lot of excuses of why you can't ask a trust value question in a one-on-one meeting. And those don't have to be scary. Those are as simple as, what do you like to work on? And then maybe the next one-on-one meeting you have with your employee, you say, what don't you like to work on? Can we systemize that or look at doing that different? Those aren't scary questions. But if you're going to make a big monster in your head, that's where he'll stay. If you believe in the boogeyman under your bed and stay under the covers, the boogeyman will be under your bed. But if you get out of bed and you look under your bed, you'll find out that there's no boogeyman there. So be careful of the tricks the mind plays in order to keep you safe when it's not even a threatening situation. Addressing how you wake up in the morning and you get going, taking your day in control with intent. Identifying one thing that you need to do and by what time instead of embracing a giant day of work is going to be super motivating. Identifying what actually is in your control and taking it to make preventative actions to reduce chaos in your life will be life-changing in this chaotic time where leaders are just so overwhelmed. How are you going to avoid autopilot and repeater days? Just taking control and doing things with intent will reduce those days. And then what type of planner or productivity type of journal are you going to utilize to stay on task? All these little actions and habits that we do daily have such a big impact. And they may seem super simple, but if they were super simple, why don't we do them? I was a leader that was overwhelmed constantly. My hands were on all the pots, and I was doing a million things. But at the end of the day, if I would strip you of your roles and responsibilities and really ground you to your leadership, what would you be doing? And most leaders can't ask that, which means you're not giving yourself enough space to actually think as a leader. When you stay on task, you take control of your day. When you stay on task, you are doing every action with intent for a better outcome. When you stay on task, you are so grounded with your leadership style that when I remove those roles and responsibilities, you have a whole sheet of paper of things you want to work on with your team, with your organization, with the operations. I hope these handful of tips to stay on task is helpful in reducing your stress and chaos and moving back towards energy.
I know you're not lazy. Most people in burnout are high performers, those serving others before themselves. Don't discount this step today, the step in which you focus on your self-growth. Piecing together the puzzle is half the journey. Rediscovering energy through new actions and habits is the other. Do not underestimate the strength in your actions and the beast to do hard things that lies within you. Check out more burnout resources on my website to move from zombie mode back to liveliness. See you soon.